Prohibition is a law or order that stops something from being used or done. In the past, this country has seen the prohibition of many things, including alcohol, which by all accounts is a standard substance used for absolutely every occasion in this country today. With the war on drugs and prohibition of harmless plants such as cannabis, is history doomed to repeat itself? Today, I would like to show you why the marijuana plant is a greater benefit to society than a detriment. Let's talk about what makes cannabis the plant it is. First of all, there are many reasons why it is harmless. The hemp plant, commonly known as weed, marijuana, or pot, is a greenish-gray mixture of the dried, shredded leaves and flowers of Cannabis sativa, according to the 2015 What is Marijuana article published by the National Institute on Drug Abuse website. Simply put, there are no additives or harmful chemicals laced into cannabis like there are in drugs such as crystal meth. This makes weed safer and not a bad drug. Marijuana can be smoked, water vaporized, or eaten in candies, cookies, brownies, etc. According to Cannabis Facts, an article sponsored by the Drug Information Organization's website, cannabis is a depressant drug, which means it slows down messages traveling between your brain and your body. This is a huge positive that hard substances definitely do not have. This alone can be a case for why marijuana should be legalized for medical use everywhere. Some of the benefits of using weed include treating glaucoma, helping reverse the carcinogenic effects of tobacco, which also can lead to improved lung health, decreasing anxiety, controlling seizures, and slowing down the progression of diseases such as Alzheimer's. Marijuana has also been shown to have a positive impact on research and patients. The American Cancer Society, in a 2015 article titled Marijuana and Cancer, stated that different compounds in marijuana have different effects on the human body. The example used by the American Cancer Society is THC. They explain that THC gives people the high feeling, but it also alleviates pain and nausea, reduces swelling, and can act as an antioxidant. This is an important advantage because studies have shown that either smoked or vaporized, marijuana can be a beneficial treatment for neurological pain caused by damaged nerves. To compare the effects of smoking, many studies compare marijuana to cigarettes. The University of California, San Francisco, and the University of Alabama conducted a 20-year study between the two. In an article summarizing their findings, the University of California, San Francisco explained that smoking cigarettes can cause significant lung damage, including respiratory symptoms, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, commonly known as COPD, and lung cancer. The same findings were not true with marijuana use. If you look at this chart, on average, 5 million people die annually around the world from tobacco use, whereas cannabis, there have been no reported deaths. So as you can see, when used and not abused, cannabis has an extremely positive impact on human health. Now let's take a look at marijuana from a financial standpoint. By allowing the legalization of marijuana, the taxes and other revenues generated by this industry could help this country get rid of some of the debt we've accumulated, according to Mr. Bunk in his Marijuana Legalization Pros and Cons article published in the Liberty Champion. Let's use Colorado, a state that has already legalized the use and sale of marijuana, as our example. Marijuana licensing fees are higher than any other industry in Colorado, up to $18,000 a store, more than enough to fund regulation, Bunk continues. According to the Denver Post, a 15% excise tax is charged along with a 10% sales tax on every marijuana sale. A 25% tax on marijuana benefits the state and local governments, and legalization is a switch that all remaining states need to make. According to the Colorado Stash article written by Aaron Smith of CNN Money, Colorado expects to take in about $184 million within 18 months of the legislation. By the end of the next fiscal year, it is projected that Colorado will take in approximately $610 million from retail and medical marijuana, according to Smith. He goes on to state, as it turns out, the legislation of marijuana is even more popular among consumers than state officials of Colorado had originally expected. Not only has Colorado turned a huge profit in such a short amount of time, they are also reinvesting their money in groups such as prevention groups and support groups for youth and adults. All in all, business has taken off and not only met but exceeded expectations. Cannabis is a beneficial plant for health and a financially fit option for our future. With numbers like that, I wonder why more states haven't jumped out of their seats to legalize cannabis. Next, we'll take a look at drug abuse. It has long been stated that marijuana is a gateway drug to a long life of harder substance abuse, but that simply isn't true. Here's why. According to Time magazine author Maya Salovitz, who wrote the web article, Marijuana as a Gateway Drug, The Myth That Won't Die, Scientists long ago abandoned the idea that marijuana causes users to try other drugs since 1999 was when the study was conducted. She goes on to detail a report commissioned by Congress to look at the potential hazard and its usage. Numerous studies have been done, and none of them have linked marijuana to harder substance use or the gateway theory. All studies have failed to prove this theory true. The problem is that a correlation isn't the cause, says Maya. It would be similar to saying that current motorcycle gang members were 50% more likely to join gangs if they rode bicycles as children. Plenty more people ride bicycles than join Hell's Angels. As you can see, these claims are outrageously false and have no scientific or medical backing. Marijuana is a beneficial plant for many reasons, so let's review why legislation of marijuana is a good step for the United States' future. For centuries, we have banned, outlawed, and prohibited good and bad substances, only to realize later the error of our ways. Marijuana is now facing a similar prohibition that alcohol faced in the early 20th century. However, cannabis has several benefits for humans and their money. Weed can help control chronic pain, spreading cancer, slow down the progression of Alzheimer's, and control other diseases. It can also be taxed for medical and recreational use and support new reforms to keep this country afloat by generating more revenue. Marijuana is also not a gateway drug like so many misguided people believe. So, with the world changing rapidly around us, our nation needs to be informed and concerned with how and why the legalization of marijuana can impact them for the better. The time may not be among us where the repeated prohibition of a substance has yet again been repealed, but as Mark Twain said best, history does not repeat itself, but it does rhyme. Can we as a society realize all that marijuana has to offer before it's too late? You guys have any questions? Yes.
Why does marijuana give you cotton mouth?
Marijuana gives you cotton mouth because of the glands in your saliva, the cannabinoid glands. So it causes you to have cotton mouth and be thirsty. Yes?
For those people who take marijuana or use marijuana for medical purposes, do they run the risk of becoming addicted to the drug?
No. Cannabis in its purest form does not contain any compounds that form addiction. Many studies have proven that cannabis in its purest form do not have these compounds. When laced with other things, such as like meth or cocaine, those drugs cause addiction, but they have other things in them that cause them to be more harmful, whereas cannabis in its purest state does not.
So the medical people are using the pure cannabis, whereas if I were
Correct.
if someone were to go buy it off the street, they would get it laced with the other things.
Correct, because it makes it cheaper
Okay.
to lace it with other things, because it looks like there's more, but the people, for medical reasons, get pure cannabis, because that is the maximum of positive effect you can get is from its purest state. Yes?
Can anyone overdose on cannabis?
No. All the studies that I have read and all the studies that have been conducted, not one single person has overdosed. Yes. There have also been no reported deaths, as I mentioned earlier. Any more questions?